Good
Good morning.
morning. How are you?
All right, and yourself?
How's it going?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
It's going.
Okay.
It's going. I look up, I'm like, oh no, time is getting away. What are you doing? The more I think I got time, the more I realize I don't even have my tea in here. See, what is going on?
Uh-oh.
It's sitting there steeping on the counter. Tiffany, I thought I heard her come in the door. Like, go get my tea. It's good too. I made a I think in my notes I talk about Earl Grey, but I made what's called a blueberry London fog. Look at me.
Uh-oh.
Yes, yes. I'm over here being a uh what do they call the the people that do the drinks? They make up new drinks all the time. Well, I'm over here making teas up all the time. So
Okay. Ain't nothing wrong.
in my spare time, of course.
Right.
Oh, all right, all right. Well, let's get this party started because yeah. It's some of that. It's some of that. Well, welcome everyone to our Saturday morning tea. Here we brew up the hottest topics in healthcare. We discuss health information news, education, how times just keep on slipping into the future. New tea blends, certification tips, and entrepreneurship. We really just talk about the revenue cycle at large. So as you come in, don't forget to hit the thumbs up or like button. I'm Clarice Warner, the girl with the pearls, the founder and senior education director of the Professional Reimbursement Network, LLC, where coding education is key. And PRN is a healthcare compliance consultancy located in Cincinnati, Ohio, that specializes in revenue cycle and regulatory compliance and education. Now, let me ask, do you know what it takes to be a certified marketable medical coder? Hmm? Well, before I introduce my co host, let me share with you information on a free email course on the 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder.
Are you interested in medical coding, but not sure where to start? And scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder.
Hey, it gets me every time, right? So if you're interested in getting more information about the 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder, check out the video description for the link. Yes. All right. Well, joining me today is my partner in success, my co-host, Mr. Jesse, the registered trademark. Put some respect on his name, the coding nurse. Sir, introduce yourself and tell the folks all about you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jesse. I live in Philadelphia. I've been in healthcare for a very long time, 3 decades. In 2014, I left the bedside and transitioned into HIM, risk adjustment, to be exact, which is also the topic of our discussion today. And during the pandemic in 2020, I created a company called the Coding Nurse LLC, where I help nurses and other people in healthcare with a clinical background transition into the wonderful world of HIM.
And how is that working for you?
It's coming along,
Oh.
has ups and downs.
Absolutely, absolutely. I like your background. It's so
Oh,
cute. Look, you
thank
see me.
you.
I'm looking around, and I said, "Well, wait a minute. Where's the little hanging thing? Well, wait a minute. You better come through."
Just switching it up a little.
Hey, I love it. I love it. Sometimes you got to pop out and show them.
I was trying not to go there this early, but hey.
It's coming eventually.
Mm,
Why wait for it?
somebody got to do it.
Somebody. Oh, I love it. All right. So before we jump in, let me remind you that you can join in and add to the conversation. Did you know that? I'm sure you did. But don't be shy. Your opinion matters and it's welcomed here. So use the chat. And if you have a question for us, just type Q so that we know it is for us and we don't miss it. So, for those who are joining us or watching the replay today, we're talking and asking, are coding jobs at risk? HCC coding crisis. And will your job move offshore? But first, let's get a little bit into our church announcements. Shall we? Shall we? Go in my song. There it is. Hey. Ooh, I can't be doing that. I had dental surgery the other day, and I can't be doing a lot of stuff, and then I don't realize it until I'll be like, oh.
Right.
Well, and all of this getting, I don't really have any church announcements, but I know you do.
I have an ICD-10 CM class beginning this Wednesday, August 13th. But actually, I'm going to just go ahead and I have another class that I'm going to launch in September.
Okay.
Because I honestly don't even try to sign up for the class next Wednesday because I don't feel like it. I'm gonna.
Oh, okay. All right.
Push you. I'm going to push you to September.
When real gets real.
Yeah. So for more information, please visit thecodingnurse.com.
Well, you heard it here first. I don't feel like it. Come next month.
There you go. I already have the next Wednesday class is already set. So.
All right. Okay.
I've already sent out everything. I'm not trying to disturb my peace.
Ooh, I felt that. Wait a minute. Ooh, in my whole spirit. Yes. No peace disturbers here. All right. Okay, let me get rid of this. All right. So, I didn't even put my little comments out here. Let's see. Good morning, Dr. Jasmine.
Good morning.
Fancy tea. All right. Yeah, I feel like I didn't even do my little job. Hey, everybody. Welcome. We are glad that you're here. Wait a minute. I can at least do this one. How about that? Be nice. Okay. All right. I feel like I did something. All right.
There you go.
There we go. Okay. So, again, let the tea spilling begin. So welcome back to the Saturday morning tea, where we serve up the real talk about our profession and what our profession needs. The real. I'm Clarice Warner, the girl with the pearls, with my partner in success, the coding nurse. And I hope you've got your favorite tea brewing this morning, because, baby, we are about to have a conversation. A whole conversation. Today's topic, well, offshoring. The good, the bad, and the ugly. But then with a twist, because we are talking about something that actually may be keeping coding managers awake at night, and has coders everywhere asking, is my job about to pack its bags and move overseas? Well, we're also going to talk about the massive shifts happening in HCC risk adjustment coding, HIPAA compliance, and this whole offshore versus onshore debate that's brewing hotter than my London fog that's sitting on the table in the kitchen that I forgot to bring in the room. but it's still going to be good. How about that? Now, before I jump in, let me say this. I've been in this industry for a long time. Mr. Jesse, you've been in this industry for a long time, and we've seen all kinds of trends that come and go. But what's happening here in 2025, this isn't just a trend. This is a fundamental shift in how we handle patient data, and it's going to impact every single one of us, whether we like it or not. So, peep the big picture. We're sitting at a crossroads, really, where technology, politics, and patient privacy are all colliding in ways that directly impact your paycheck and career security. So, what's really happening, you have states who are putting their foot down about keeping patient data on American soil. The feds are cracking down on Medicare Advantage coding like never before. There's a new bipartisan bill that could save taxpayers $124 billion by tightening HCC coding rules. Meanwhile, everyone's asking, will my coding job move to India or stay in Indiana? The truth is, Roof, offshoring isn't disappearing overnight, but it's becoming legally risky and financially complicated. Smart organizations are bringing work back home or finding creative domestic solutions. So, we're going to talk a little bit about all the things related to all the things. How about that? But let's see who's all in the room today. Good morning, Crafty Coder, our on the street correspondent. And good morning, Roxanne. Good morning. Good morning. All right, all right. So, and Mr. Jesse, you know what to do. You
Well,
know what to do.
I do want to jump in already.
Jump in.
Picture it. The United States, what was it 2023? Wasn't it 2023 during that breach with Change Healthcare? Didn't I tell you? I told you exactly what the cause was, and it was exactly what it was. This is what all this is about. Because do you know how much that breach cost the United States government?
Still costing.
Well, still costing. But all of this is because I'm telling you, like, I worked for them. I knew that they didn't have that. I knew how shoddy the back end was, and I also knew that most of the people. My supervisor was, I think he was in the Philippines. This is what it's all about. Money.
Telling you.
It's always about money.
Follow the dollar, follow the coins. We've always talked about it. Follow the money.
And it's a conversation that has been long overdue. I'm here for it.
Uh-oh. All right. So again, let's start with the elephant in the room, because this situation is getting harder and harder to ignore every day. And I don't know why people keep ignoring it, but somebody got to speak about it, right? Right. So, it could all be so simple if we just had one set of rules to follow. But instead, we've got federal laws, state laws, contract requirements, and international consideration all mixing together in this pot like a complicated tea blend. And not a good one, may I add. Here's what's really happening. States are essentially building digital walls around patient data. Texas just passed a law, and I'm talking brand new, fresh off the legislative press law, that requires all electronic health records for Texas patients to be physically stored in the United States. Not just backed up here, not just accessible from here, physically located on American soil. Florida beat them to the punch earlier. And now we're seeing Wisconsin, Arizona, and others following suit. It's like watching dominoes fall, but in reverse. Instead of everything tumbling down, we're seeing walls being built around everything. and built up. Now, here where it gets a little more interesting for all of us in the coding world. These laws don't just apply to storage, they apply to access. So if you're a coding company that uses offshore resources and those resources can access patient data, you could be violating state law, even if you're following federal HIPAA guidelines. And speaking of HIPAA, here's something that might surprise you or not. HIPAA doesn't actually prohibit sending patient data overseas. I think we've talked about that several times. I know if this is the first time that you're hearing this, you may be a little shocked. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. While HIPAA allows it, enforcement becomes nearly impossible when things go wrong abroad. I think Mr. Jesse has clearly identified the points that folks don't really want to talk about as it relates to that. But instead, we're left with this gray area that's getting darker every year as states step in to fill the gaps. So now let's talk about the bomb that just dropped in Washington. And I'm not being dramatic here. I really am not. When you think you've heard it all and you hear some more, you be like, wow, I didn't even know we can go any further than this. This is going to reshape our entire industry. It's called the No Up Code Act. And yes, that's a real name for a real bill. It was introduced by Senators Bill Cassidy and Jeff Merkley. This bipartisan legislation is projected to save Medicare $124 billion over the next decade. And let me repeat that, $124 billion with a B dollars. How are they planning to save that money? By cracking down on the very work that many of us do every day. HCC Risk Adjustment Coding. Mr. Jesse, was you trying to come in? Okay.
Right, yeah.
Here's what the bill proposes. Eliminating outdated diagnosis codes that shouldn't be impacting risk scores. Extending the look-back period for audits to 2 years. Requiring clinical validation for every diagnosis that affects payment. Increasing penalties for organizations that get caught gaming the system. Now, I want to be clear here. This isn't about punishing good coders who do honest work. Absolutely not. This is about closing loopholes that some organizations have been exploiting. And we probably know some of those organizations.
I know I do.
Who they are. But here's the reality. When the government cracks down, everyone feels the pressure. So for those of you working in HCC coding, especially if you're working with offshore vendors or thinking about it, this bill is essentially putting up a giant red flag that says, quote, proceed with extreme caution, end quote. Again, it could all be so simple if everyone just coded accurately from the beginning. But when financial incentives get misaligned, we end up with legislation like this that affects us all. Now, I do want to hear from you on this one. If you're listening live, drop a comment or send me a message. Have you seen pressure in your organization to code more aggressively for higher risk scores? You ain't got to say your organization. You ain't got to put people on blast like that unless you're feeling froggy and want to do what you want to do. How are you handling the balance between thorough coding and compliance? Your experiences matter, and I read every single message, so you can plop them in there. Go ahead.
Well, now I want to jump in
Jump
because
on.
there's 2 points that you read that I want to touch on. So the first one is this is why they have the new risk adjustment version 28, because the payment structure is completely different from version 24. And there used to be a difference, a big difference between the HCC categories in terms of payment.
Mhm.
but they have combined and even condensed some other categories, and the increases are really nominal because
Mhm.
they want people to they're trying to put the emphasis on documentation,
Correct.
and
Which is where it
it
lives.
should have been all along. And then, like them talking about you have to validate every diagnosis that's coded. That should be anyway.
Mhm.
And this gets into this whole situation that really, really, really gripes my behind,
Mm-mm.
is this whole concept of clinical validation and how the industry has been allowed to perpetuate this lie that you have to have a clinical background to validate conditions,
Okay, speak on it. Speak on it.
when that is not true at all. But it is a carve out by a certain demographic, and I'm not even trying to go there this daggone early in the morning. But it's so untrue, because as a coder, every code you assign has to have meat. We
Mhm.
know that
We
meat
know that.
is clinical validation, point blank, and the period.
Oh, and the period. All right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm done.
Mm-mm-mm. You sure?
For now, yeah,
For
for sure.
now. All right. So again, let's address that question everybody's asking. Is my coding job moving to India or the
No,
Philippines or wherever? Go ahead. Here you
I,
go.
I think the question is it going to stay there? Because it's already there, but is it going to stay?
So the short answer is it's complicated.
There you go.
The long answer, well, you might want to grab another cup of tea or whatever it is that you're sipping on, because we need to impact this properly. So first, let's talk about what offshore coding actually looks like in 2025. It's not the Wild Wild West it used to be. Mm-mm. Offshore vendors are investing heavily in American certifications, AAPC credentials, FIMC HCC certifications. We'll talk a little
Never
bit
heard of
more.
it.
Wait a minute. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Hold on. And you name it. They're hiring former American coders as trainers and quality reviewers. Some of these operations are more sophisticated than domestic coding companies that we have here that we've encountered. But, and this is a big but, the regulatory environment is making offshore coding increasingly risky and expensive. Remember those state laws I mentioned? They're not just suggestions. Violating data localization requirements can result in loss of professional licenses, contract terminations, and significant financial penalties. Texas is talking about $250,000 per violation for intentional misuse of protected health information. Then there's the Medicare Advantage side. CMS now requires detailed attestations for every offshore subcontractor that touches beneficiary data. They want to know who they are, what they're doing, where they're doing it, and how you're auditing them. Again, it could all be so simple if CMS just said yes or no. But instead, they've created this complex reporting requirement that makes offshore relationships expensive to maintain. Now, here's what I'm seeing in the market. Large health plans and coding companies aren't necessarily eliminating offshore relationships entirely, but they're being much more selective and strategic about them. Administrative functions that don't involve direct patient data access, those might stay offshore, but direct coding, especially HCC coding that affects payments, mm, that's increasingly moving back to domestic resources. Question for my listeners: if you're in management and you're dealing with these decisions, what factors are you weighing? Coding savings versus compliance risks. And for individual coders, how are you positioning yourself to be valuable, marketable, regardless of where the work is done? Hmm? All right. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, Clarice, if offshore coding is getting more restricted, how are these overseas coders still getting American certifications? Well, this is where it gets real. I for real need my tea right now because this is where it gets really, really interesting. So here is the truth that might surprise some of you. Offshore coders aren't just stumbling into American credentials. They're investing serious time, money, and effort to earn the same certifications we work so hard for here in the States. AAPC went global. They now offer training and certification preparation in India, the Philippines, the Middle East, Europe, which we just talked about last week, Brazil, and Australia. We're talking about coders who can earn their CPC certifications in as little as 10 weeks through intensive programs. Let me paint you a picture of what this actually looks like. In the Philippines, organizations like MedStar are offering 200-hour intensive training programs with live AAPC certified instructors via virtual classrooms. These aren't fly by night operations. They're using the exact same AAPC curriculum and materials that we use here in America. And here's what's really opened some folks' eyes. These offshore training centers are providing comprehensive review sessions, one on one tutoring, practice exams using 5 years worth of previous AAPC questions, and specialized focus on job training and interview preparation. It could all be so simple if we just acknowledge that many of these programs are as rigorous as what we offer here domestically. In India, while it's possible to get coding jobs without CPC certification, the salary difference is significant. CPC certified coders earn substantially more than their non certified counterparts, which is driving massive investment in American credentials. But again, there's also a kicker, and that is this. This is important for everyone listening. The fact that offshore coders can get certified doesn't eliminate the compliance and legal challenges we've been discussing. A certified offshore coder working on Texas patient data is still violating Texas law, regardless of their credentials. I'm curious to hear from our certified coders out there. How does it feel knowing that the same rigorous training you went through is now available globally? Does this make you more focused on specialization and compliance expertise? Drop me a line. Let me know your thoughts. I hear you breathing. Come on.
Yes. So
Wait a minute. I
this,
see all these comments too. Let me get to them too.
oh no,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, go ahead.
No.
Oh,
Go. Go.
okay. So I want to separate the Philippines and India for a second
Okay.
because I started working with Filipino coders in 2015. So this whole offshoring thing is really not new. It's just that they're trying to wrangle it in now because it's out of control.
Mhm.
But the difference also about between the Philippines and India is it's a lot easier for um, for the people in the US to find Filipino coders because in the Philippines, they used to bring a lot of Filipino nurses over here to the
Mhm.
US because in the Philippines, you only can become a nurse if you have a bachelor's degree in the Philippines. So it ties in. So they tried to get them to do CDI and they tried to make them coders, but I really strongly believe, and we had the same people who trained me at Inovalon went to the Philippines and trained them. I don't know what it is, but they just don't seem to get it. And even at my last employer, they trained these Indian workers in CDI. These were people who had degrees, supposedly. They had clinical degrees, supposedly, but they just couldn't do it. It's just they're not able to, not to the level that you need when you're talking about doing uh reviews that are definitely going to be tied to reimbursement and auditing. Like it just, if for whatever, I don't know why, but it just does not seem to work. And I can always always tell when I'm coding something or reviewing something that has been coded offshore. I could instantly tell.
Mm-mm. Okay, let's see what we got here. Comments. See what I'm saying? Former U.S. coders as trainers. Good. We need to know who touching these records. We have to go through level 5 background checks, but they can be ghosts. She said, well. Mm-hmm. I was like, 10 weeks. Yes, 10 weeks. I don't know. I didn't know they interviewed them. Yeah. My brain on overload. Just never mind. Yeah. Does it cost the same as the US?
Can I comment on that, Roxanne? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because when I first started, they were paying them, this was 2015. I heard that they were paying them $4 an hour.
Mm-mm-mm.
Now, and $4 American an hour in some of these countries is great money. But no, it's not. That's why they have them. This is all a cost-cutting measure. Trust and believe.
And she said, I hope that, okay, no, I'm not gonna be able to see that. I hope that this hits every state. I deal with offshore every single day, and it is a hot compliance mess. Yes. Constantly finding issues, compliance issues. Nobody cares because it is quantity over quality. They said,
Absolutely.
they are not even coders. They just write the program. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wow. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All of the things. All of the things. All of the things. So let's see. So then let's talk about the element that everyone loves to fearmonger about, and that's AI, or artificial intelligence. For every conference I attend, every webinar I join, somebody asks, is AI going to replace medical coders? Every student that comes into the program, just everybody. And every time I give the same answer. AI is going to change medical coding. Yes, it is. But it's not going to replace good medical coders. AI, and here's why. AI is fantastic at pattern recognition. It can spot inconsistencies, flag potential issues, and even suggest codes based on documentation patterns. We've seen that. It's been there forever. But AI can't think like a clinician. It can't read between the lines of physician documentation. It can't make judgment calls about clinical significance. What AI can do is make good coders even better. It can handle the routine, repetitive tasks and free up human coders to focus on the complex cases that require real expertise. We've talked about that several times. Again, it could all be so simple if we just embrace AI as a tool rather than fearing it as a replacement. The organizations that are thriving in 2025 are the ones that have figured out how to blend human expertise with artificial intelligence assistance. You want to say something?
Yes.
Mhm.
I mean, you say it every single Saturday. How to become a certified marketable medical coder. You say it every Saturday. And we have laid out ways to do this all the time. And what people have to understand is part of being marketable is recognizing trends.
Mhm.
And these people who are concerned about AI, especially any coder that is concerned about AI, I don't know what kind of coder you are, because if you are, you seriously, you can see the inconsistencies very easily. Why would you worry? Like seriously, the only thing that is going to change is AI eventually will definitely replace frontline coding. It is. But I have never been a frontline coder in over a decade. I've never been. I've always been an auditor or some kind of second level reviewer from the door.
Mhm.
So that's the expertise. You want to be the one to review what is done. That's what you want to do. That's the sweet spot.
Mhm.
and you move around in there, or you move up from there. But the goal for everybody who is coding right now, if you are a production coder, the goal you got, this is the game. Be an auditor. Do what you got to do to be an auditor. Move.
Absolutely.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. It's time to pivot, folks. Pivot. Is the word. Pivot. Let's see. I just finished a third AI certification, and when I tell you that it ain't the same as a human brain, it's a tool, not a takeover. I called ChatGPT a liar the other day. It was hallucinating real bad. Just like facts. Where did it go? I'm sorry. There we go. Facts. Preach, Mr. Jesse, because our AI bot is not smart enough at all. At all.
I haven't seen one yet that is. And when I say yet, because it will get better, and it has gotten better, but
It gets better daily, but it's still
nowhere where it needs to be.
And then here's an interesting twist. The offshore coding debate intersects with AI in unexpected ways. Some offshore vendors are actually ahead of the curve on AI integration because they have the scale and technical infrastructure to implement advanced systems. But here's the catch. Those AI systems still need human oversight, and increasingly, that oversight needs to be domestic to satisfy compliance requirements. So it's still all crazy. For individual coders, this means the future belongs to those who can work alongside AI, not those who try to compete against it. Learn the technology, understand its capabilities and limitations, and position yourself as the human expert who can guide and validate AI outputs. So, what does all this mean for you? Whether you're an individual coder, a coding manager, or running a coding business, here are the practical strategies that I'm recommending. For individual coders, again and always, get certified and stay certified. The days of informal training are ending. AAPC, AHIMA, and the specialized certification like FIMC-HCC, which stands for Fellowship in Medical Coding for Hierarchical Condition Categories. From the Professional Medical Billers Association, USA LLC. And yes, I said Medical Biller Association. These aren't just nice to haves anymore. Specialize in complex areas. Again, we've talked about this as well. Basic coding can be assisted by AI or done remotely. Complex cases require clinical judgment, and that's where human expertise shines every single time. Understand compliance inside and out. Know HIPAA. Understand audit requirements. Stay current on regulatory changes. Compliance expertise is becoming as valuable as coding accuracy. Don't play with it. For organizations, audit your vendor relationships now. Don't wait for a state investigation or a CMS audit to discover that your offshore partner isn't fully compliant. Invest in technology thoughtfully. AI can improve accuracy and efficiency, but only if implemented with proper human oversight. Develop domestic talent pipelines. Whether through remote work arrangements or regional partnerships, having reliable domestic resources is becoming a competitive necessity. Again, it could all be so simple if we just planned ahead instead of reacting to crises. But I know many of you are dealing with immediate pressures and limited resources. Mr. Jesse?
I think now is the best time. I don't think education has been easier to obtain than what it is now, but you just have to get quality education. So I look, and I want. Can you put LaShantae's comment up there? Because she gonna fight for the billers.
Wait, I can't see. The AI won't get any better one.
The one under that. Not too
Not
much
too
on
much
the
on the
Biller
Billy or something.
Association. and
I'm just saying.
but this is what I think is going to end up happening. I really think that billing is going to change eventually. I think billing is going to have, because you have to know, you have to know coding to pass the billing exam. You have, if they, it's part of the curriculum. But I think there's going to be a bigger emphasis, because I think I think it's they're like the last line of defense before the bill goes out. So it would make sense to have them, to make them more aware of
Absolutely.
coding and sequencing, and because of course you can't validate because you didn't read the record. That's not your role. But you can, a lot of these, rejected claims and all that, like that's basically coding or like some kind of clerical mistake. And I
Mhm.
think that could be improved. And I think that there's a way to incorporate billers in this process and use them a little bit more efficiently than what they're currently being used.
She said, yes, Billy needs more coding knowledge for sure. Hmm. And she's going to be the pioneer on that front.
All
Mhm.
right.
Okay. All right. So as we wrap up today's conversation, I want to leave you with this thought. Change is the only constant in healthcare, but knowledge is your most valuable pearl. So the shifts we're seeing in 2025, the state data localization laws, the Medicare crackdowns, the evolving technology landscape. Oh, wait. Before I even get there, I do want to say, Anahima is not immune or exempt, because they have international arms as well. They have international locations and are providing uh, um, certifications internationally as well. So we not just gonna all dump everything on AAP, even though AAPC is running for real, running down the track. But
Right. I mean, and when it
AHIMA is
comes to
right
risk
there.
adjustment, like AHIMA is not even in the conversation.
Correct, but they are also having international arms where they are providing certifications internationally as well. But
Mm.
all of this is based around, for the most part, uh, the type of coding that AAPC jumped on a long time ago. So
And that I give them all the kudos in the world for that, because they definitely saw that one and they were right.
they
I
jumped on it
mean,
and ran. So yeah.
because they are like the foremost experts on it. And I'd have, I say this all the time, and I've been saying it for years. Risk adjustment, HCC coding is some of the easiest coding you could ever do. It does not get any easier than that. It
Mm-mm-mm.
really, really doesn't. And what happens is you have people who don't want to follow the rules. And you have these people who, well, for years,
Or
they
trying
have
to
just,
game it.
well, yeah, because for years they've been trying to, like, I mean, like common sense is like, it just goes back to coding. Because I'm telling you, with all of this crackdown, sooner or later, because what's going to happen is these organizations are going to be like, oh, no, we're not going to take the fall for you. When they get hit, they're going to start coming after these daggone coders who started coding this nonsense in the beginning. It's going to
Mhm,
fall back on, you have a certification for a reason. You
mhm,
have attested to a code of ethics for a reason.
mhm,
And they're going to start coming after, because crap always rolls downhill. And these
mm.
companies are not going to take the fall for any of you incompetent behinds out there. You better believe it. And people better start following the rules. It's not hard.
It's not hard.
Validate what is there. You know goodness well that if somebody's in the doctor's office, they cannot have an acute stroke and it be
Mm,
diagnosed. You need diagnostic. You need a CT scan. You need an MRI to effectively diagnose a stroke. You need a chest X-ray to diagnose pneumonia. Ain't nobody getting no chest X-ray in no daggone doctor's office next to the nail salon.
Meanwhile, our denials are increasing because of our AI encoder. Uh-oh. Oh, AI autocoder, I'm sorry. Are constantly making errors. It has to get better. let's just park right here because look, I feel like a soapbox now because at some point in this whole scheme of things, somebody thought and said that these encoders were everything that a coder could ever be. And somebody listened and got on that bandwagon and told the coders, oh, well, the encoder is going to tell you what to do. The encoder is going to make your job easier. The encoder is going to shoot out stars and bubbles and unicorns and magic and going to be the end all be all. Who in their right mind who attested to their code of ethics on whichever coding organization they follow, because they both have them, decided that I'm going to let this encoder do my job? No, it's a tool. It is just a tool, and it's basing on things that you put into, well, some of them now with the AI can read the documentation, but we all know that the documentation is sometimes sketchy at best. So how are you going to allow what comes out of an encoder to be the end all be all? Oh yeah, this is it. Boom, let's go. Who does that and why? Why are you doing that? Because clearly folks are doing it, but why are you doing that? Stop.
Because
I
these
hit my
people,
thing. Stop.
I'm gonna tell you why. Anybody, and I put this on everything I own, anybody who only uses an encoder is a horrible coder. I put that on
Horrible.
everything.
They don't know
Because
what they're doing. They don't know.
You have to use a book. It is going to walk you through a process. I cannot code without a book. I can't. I buy a book and that's my only fear about ICD 11, because they're trying to say that it's all going to be online, which is fine, but there needs to be a book, because I can't imagine. I don't care if it's as big as War and Peace. I don't care.
Well,
I
they
need
used
a book.
to be.
Well, I
Just
need
bring
a
it
book.
back. Bring it back.
There you go.
When they tried to, we getting older, not younger. And when they came out with that 7-point typeface, I'm like, who can see this? That's ridiculous. Don't shrink the size just because you're trying to make it a smaller, compact manual. No, give us what we need so we can do the job appropriately. But yeah, this whole reliance on this encoder thing has gotten completely out of hand. And to your point, if you are someone who is doing that, number one, you don't know, you're missing a whole lot. You're missing the point. Let's start there. You're missing the point. And you damn sure not marketable at all because you're not coding. You're just copying or taking what somebody is giving you, letting the machine do the work. Would you say I'm never signing up for a job? I'm never signing up for a machine to do my job. Why would you do that? This is crazy. You see, them folks ain't reading that ethics play. I'm just saying. It's even more than the plaque. It's a whole code of ethics document that folks probably just, I don't know if they're glazing through. Somebody has, I know a human does it on several things. I'm trying to think, does AAPC require you to sign off on that every year when you submit your certification as well as
you do.
membership? I know a human did. I think AAPC. Yeah. So not only did you see it at one point, it's presented to you annually, at least every 2 years. And you still checking off saying, yeah, I know, but you're still not doing. Make that make sense for me. Make that make sense for you. It's all about them employment. It's all about them KPI at month end, quality over quantity.
Yeah. But you know, I want to touch on that point.
The wild, wild west of the revenue cycle. Go ahead.
So, Tamara, your point about the KPIs are valid, but the thing is, I think what needs to happen is the KPIs need to change. because I think that they're tracking the wrong things because, you know, we talk about this all the time, Clarice. Like all they care about is dropping those bills.
Yep.
Now, what they don't talk about and what they really don't calculate, which what they calculate, but they don't factor it into KPIs, is the amount of time it takes when claims come back or like when they're denied. Like nobody is tracking how much time it takes because it has to be reviewed by a couple of departments before they either come up with an appeal or they just eat the cost. So all that is time that is taken away from productivity. And if the bill is sent out right the first time, you don't have to worry about it coming back because the back end is congested. And the back end is congested because you have people in CDI, yes, I'm saying it, who don't know coding, and then they send the case off to coding. Coding comes back and says, "Oh, well, you need to send one, sometimes two queries because it's not because they have flagged conditions that aren't resolved." So you have to send a query and wait for the provider to come back. All this time, the bill has already been sent out. So then once you get a response, depending on what the response is, you have to update the record. Then it goes back to then coding, sends the bill off again. The case gets rebilled. All of that takes away from productivity. Because it takes away from productivity because now CDI is done with the case, but it's going to coding. Coding sends it back to you. So you have other cases that you have to deal with, plus this one. It happens a lot. And what they really, and one of the KPIs that they need to focus on is post-discharge queries. Because ideally, there's supposed to be none. Everything's supposed to be done while somebody is in-house, but that is not what's happening. You heard it here first. I've been on the inside. I know how it goes.
And you know, to your point, it's all about showing that, well, because and I'm speaking primarily of revenue cycle functions and revenue cycle organizations because their job is to generate more business. They identify needs from different organizations and want to fill those needs, and rightfully so. But their selling point oftentimes is that we can make sure that we bill out X amount of numbers, X amount of dollars, da 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 da. So the push isn't to look back to see, well, hell, how much did you get to keep of those X amount of dollars, or how much did you actually get? It's just to show, because there's a blind eye back there to all the denial stuff that happens once that bill is gone. All they want to show is we can push out, if we push out all this money, look at all the money that you could potentially get if everything is quote unquote right. And nobody is even asking the questions of, but how right are you? What is your accuracy in productivity? Yes, you can produce, but how accurate is it? And it's like, oh, well, that's not our business. That's on the back end. They'll fix it on the back end. Really? And to your point, there needs to be some KPIs that actually focus on that denials, the revenue integrity, denials integrity, all those folks back there. They need to focus on some KPIs around there to help bring the full picture to light of what is actually really happening.
Well, I say it all the time, and what needs to happen, there needs to be a rebranding of the skill of coding because people, in theory, CDI and coding are supposed to work hand in hand, but it is a very adversarial relationship because people have reduced people who are not coders have reduced coders to administrative tasks. And there is nothing administrative about your daggone money. Nothing. And it is when your money is directly tied to a skill, you need to recognize and give put some respect on that skill. And you have people in CDI across the board who are not coders. And when coding reaches out to them, I've heard them, they act like it's an intrusion. Why are they asking me this? Why do they need to do that? If you were a coder, you would freaking know why they're asking you that. Because first of all, had you done your job, they wouldn't have to ask you. The whole theory of CDI, when it goes to coding, it's supposed to be done. That's why you're there.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody wants to have that conversation because coding in the eyes of nursing is beneath them. I'm telling you what I know. And I am one of the few people who is a nurse who really loves coding. It's the best thing since sliced bread. I wish I'd have known. I would have known about it 10 years before I got into it.
Yeah, it was the greatest thing that I learned. Let's see, AI is not reliable. It sometimes picks up codes that are not being managed during the current stay. It also misses procedures in op notes.
Sure does.
To say, agree 100%. Have the coders sending out 150 claims a day, barely reading notes. However, insurance coders have to read documentation and do 30 claims a day. Make it make sense. My favorite spot is being an AR coder. Y'all better jump on it. Heard it here first. Okay.
I want to jump on LaShantae's point about the insurance coders doing 30 claims a day. When I worked for the insurance company, we only had to do 25 claims a day. And can I tell you, I've said this before, I denied thousands of dollars a day in claims. Thousands. And it's easy. When you know what you're looking for, it is very easy to validate. Very easy. And that assignment I had earlier this year, like the coding that comes out from these organizations to be built, it's atrocious. Atrocious. How can you release a sepsis claim and the person didn't even meet sepsis criteria? That's not the provider's fault. That's CDI's fault. That's the coder's fault. That should never leave the door. Nobody took the time to validate this condition.
Absolutely. This right here. It seems like coding is a trend, and that's what they're making it. The internet is pushing be a coder so you can work from home. And that's what these students are coming in the door saying, oh, I just want a job that I can work from home. That's what they think that's all this is. And it's way more than that. We all know.
I don't think that's a bad thing, because that's what drew me to it. But what happens is you have to know how to do your job. You could do it from a daggone trash can. You need to know how to do your job.
You need to know the skill. You need to learn the skill. Even before you get to know the skill. Learn and know the skill. And folks are glossing over all the things because, oh, well, they got an encoder. The encoder will do whatever. Don't get me started. We circling back. Anyway, the shifts we're seeing in 2025, the state data localization laws, the Medicare crackdowns, the evolving technology landscape, these aren't threats to fear. They're opportunities to position yourself and your organization for long-term success. But here's the key. You can't navigate these waters alone. Success in this environment requires community, ongoing education, and staying connected to the latest developments. So here's what I want you to do right now. Join our professional reimbursement network community if you haven't already done so. As you see, we like to talk about these things and talk about them. We do. We're tracking these regulatory changes in real time and providing practical guidance for navigating them. Also, watch us here at the Saturday Morning Tea. Again, we're providing these information and conversations every week and letting you know that the landscape is changing fast enough that monthly updates aren't sufficient anymore. That's why we're here every week, because something is popping off every week. Also, share your experiences. The questions I asked today, I want to hear your answers. Email me, comment on our social media, or show up next week with your experiences, because your real world experiences help all of us learn and adapt. And then take action on your professional development, whether it's pursuing a new certification, learning about AI tools, or understanding compliance requirements better. Don't wait for your employer to require it. Be proactive. And finally, remember, it can all be so simple if we approach these changes with curiosity instead of fear, with preparation instead of panic, and with community instead of isolation. So if today's conversation resonated with you, I want to hear from you. Send an email, connect with us on LinkedIn, Or better yet, join the community where we're having these conversations every Saturday, every single Saturday. Right, 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 right.
That's right.
So, like I said, let's build a community where we lift each other up with real strategies, not false promises. Your career transformation starts with a single decision to invest in yourself beyond just passing an exam. So, let me put my little trusty handy dandy slide up there. Yes. So, are you thirsty for perspectives on healthcare revenue cycle? Well, by becoming one of the PRNT sippers, you'll join a community of sharp minds who savor the complexities of the healthcare revenue cycle. Why sip alone when you can steep in knowledge together? Come, let's spill the tea on industry insights. And here's what you can expect as a valued member of the Tea Sippers: exclusive healthcare insights, gain access to in depth articles, webinars, and resources covering the latest healthcare trends, compliance updates, and revenue cycle best practices. Early access, be the first to receive expert insights and guides, ensuring you stay ahead in the ever evolving healthcare industry. We spill this tea every week. Personalized support. Enjoy direct access to our team of experts for guidance on medical coding, compliance issues, and revenue cycle management. We're here to answer your questions and support your professional growth. And finally, my favorite, the community connection. Join a private community of healthcare professionals where you can network, share experiences, and collaborate on finding solutions to common challenges. So, by supporting us, you're not only advancing your healthcare knowledge and career, but also contributing to the success of the Professional Reimbursement Network, LLC, a resource that empowers healthcare professionals like you to thrive in their roles, goals, and dreams. So thank you in advance for considering becoming a member of the PRNT Sippers. For the cost of 2 cups of tea per month, you can join the community. Check out the link in the description of the video. Your support means the world to us, and we look forward to helping you excel in the world of health information and healthcare revenue cycle. For our Saturday morning tea family, thank you for spending your Saturday morning with us. I know your time is precious, and I don't take it lightly when you choose to spend it here because you could be anywhere else in the world doing any type of thing. Again, at the Saturday morning tea, we're all about building a community of savvy, informed, marketable healthcare professionals. So again, like, share, subscribe, and comment, and let's grow this community together. Mr. Jesse, do you have any closing thoughts?
When you said you could be anywhere else, I was like, you could be somewhere training people in the Philippines to be coders.
Which we will be talking about in the meeting after the meeting. It's going down. Like I said, we give you a few drops of tea, but the hot stuff happens in the meeting after the meeting. Play with it if you want to. So keep in mind, it could all be so simple when you focus on what truly matters. Keep coding with confidence, keep learning with purpose, and remember, you're not just a coder. You are a healthcare professional whose expertise is more valuable than ever. Tune in next week as we'll be discussing another hot healthcare informational topic, and you won't want to miss it. See you PRNT Simpers at 10:15, shortly, a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is Clarice Warner, your girl with the pearls, reminding you that in healthcare, knowledge isn't just power, it's protection. And remember, be safe, be kind, and don't wish for it, work for it. Until next time, take care. Have a good weekend. Bye.